Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wind for the Desert Dune tournament here in Golf Clash. The game video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button. Also that you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament or tour guides by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link directly in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, the elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I do suggest you to play with. Have in mind that you don't have to follow what I do suggest, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. So let's take a look at hole number 1, and we shall start by playing with the driver that gives us the most power possible. In my case, that is the Apocalypse level 6, but in your case, it could be another driver. We use 6 bars of topspin, max side spin to the left, and we're somewhat trying to bounce slightly over the bunker on the right, but more or less trying to go in between the both bunkers without obviously endangering going into any of it. Max plus 10 is what I'm adjusting. I will apply overpower based on how much I need. And how much do you need? You get to see that when you do adjust into it, you will see the rings, and you will notice in that case, okay, this case it was 1.5 ring of overpower, then we use 1.5 ring of overpower. 375 yards, and here I do play maximum distance plus 10 from this distance, so I'm not in max distance as you clearly can see, but I'm still under adjusted. So I do believe that we shall be playing it 15% elevation for this type of shot, most especially in crosswind, as the ball will be pushed massively when it comes right to left. And the reason the ball is going to be pushed a bit more than normal when it comes to a short iron is because of the air time before the first and the second bounce, because that bounce is higher than a normal shot, which also will be affected more than a normal shot. You can see here speed wise it comes in lovely, but we need a couple of more decimals. A max plus 15 would be a better play here for hole number 1. Hole number 2, you will see 2 options. One, where we're gonna play with our sniper, and we're gonna start just below the plus 1 yard mark, as you will see there. Red ring by the rough line, and with the sniper, the size of the rings are the same, as you do have the same accuracy. I'm playing with 3.8 bars of backspin, half a bar of side spin to the right. Please disregard the fact that the ball guideline shows that you should miss clearly to the left. That is all compensated for in our adjustment. Maximum distance plus 5, which is 1-to-1 plus 0.6, and then it's time to take our shot. Perfect ball, and it bounced nicely on the fairway. It comes in towards the pin, and we just barely missed that one on the right hand side. Looking at this adjustment now afterwards, it does look like I did underpull that shot slightly, and that could make the difference of dropping that shot or not. The thing that we're gonna have to have in mind here, that bouncing with the sniper like that is going to be very difficult to get a high drop rate, as there is a lot of things that's going to happen after the first bounce, and that's why the rough bump is definitely a superior option. But with the rough bump, we're gonna have to play with a special ball, which we're gonna take a look at now. For the rough bump, we're gonna play with a Power 0 Wind 5 ball, and the reason I do choose a Power 0 ball here is due to the fact that I do not want to go in between clubs if I do have a tailwind. If I do have a headwind or a crosswind, I can play with whatever Wind 5 ball, just that is maximum power 2. Now, 3 bars of backspin and 0.8 bars of side spin to the left. And the most important part is that my setup starts with having the bottom left of the inner ring by the edge of the rough and the sand line, with the ball guideline going through the hole. And after that, I do apply the spin needed. 3 bars of backspin, 0.8 bars of left spin. Minimum distance minus 5% is the elevation that we do play here. and obviously we're gonna have to try to hit a perfect ball. And we roll this one nicely, speed is perfect, but we just barely missed that one on the right hand side. So we do need to shave off a decimal here, or we do need to, in that case, add a little bit more left spin. I would advocate for the fact to use a little bit more left spin to keep the landing spot as we're having now. Will a great left or a great right clip the rough as well? It could be, but depends on the wind angle. With this type of wind, a great left would clip the rough, where a great right most likely would miss. So that is a risk that we do take, but if I'm gonna choose a route that is going to be the best way to get an hole-in-one, it's gonna be the rough bump all day and every day. We start by playing here with the driver that gives us the most power possible, and I'm actually gonna play with a katana. I usually play with minimum a power 3 ball on a par 5, but it's not necessary to play with anything better than a power 2 ball on the drive if not having a direct headwind, because then I would step up to play with a kingmaker. Adjust max plus 10, and I'm using 4.5 bar topspin and 3 bars of side spin to the right. No curl whatsoever, and our plan is to get behind the bunker there on the right, 359 yards. The most common mistake players are doing on this hole is that they are trying to get the drive to be as far up as possible. The thing that those players forget is that if you get too far, you're going to miss out on this absolute amazing funnel that we are going to play. And that's why I lay up short. I'm using 2 topspin, and then I'm gonna use side spin to the right as well. Sorry, side spin to the left as well. And the important part here is to use somewhere between 2.5 to 3 bars of side spin and make sure that you have the ball guideline in the funnel. And you can see here when I'm going left and right, you can see that the ball guideline is just stuck. It's not gonna move, which means that we will have a lot of room for adjustment error with this shot. Minus 10% elevation is what I'm gonna play here, then true distance of my club, and then obviously try to hit perfect in the end. Ball bounced nicely into the rough, and when the camera angle does like this, we know it's gonna be close. It looks like it comes down extremely slow, but it actually has a good amount of speed. You can see there on the pin when we hit it. Righted pin for a beautiful albatross on one of the par 5s in the game that is the easiest to make an albatross at. And that's why I say that regardless what wind we're gonna have on this hole in the tournament, this is going to be a must albatross. The thing to have in mind, once again, don't go too far on your drive, because then you will lose out on playing in this amazing funnel. So let's take a look at hole number 4, and here I will attempt a rough bump, and I'm gonna use the Goliath. I'm gonna explain why I'm using the Goliath after the video is done. In crosswind, I'm using 6.2 bars of topspin, 1 bar of left spin, having the top of the yellow ring by the edge of the rough with the ball guideline going through the hole. Importance with this rough bump is that you cannot hit a bad great left. If you hit a bad great left, you will see that ball to go most likely into the bunker. Adjustment is maximum distance plus 20, and then it's time to take our shot. Perfect ball. And you will see here that the ball bounces nicely into the rough. Speed-wise, it's really good, but we are just a tad right off the cup, and we need to take off a little bit of our adjustments. So I would say that we should be maybe going towards a max plus 15. But again, I don't either want to play that dangerously close to the sand as well. This one is a tricky one to play, and a wind resistance 4 or 5 ball would definitely be a good option here for hole number 4. So we're gonna take a look at 2 type of options here. One where we're gonna just play a very conservative way with a good chance for an eagle, and one where we will be going for green. First, we start with the more conservative way. Start with the white ring by the edge of the rough, ball guideline straight down the middle. I'm adding as much topspin possible, and you know, the side spin to the left could be added, but that is down to personal preference in my opinion. You don't have to, but you could do it. Adjust maximum distance, no elevation, and we're looking to get the ball just very nicely down the fairway. And here we are looking to a yardage of 387. Now, for the second shot, I use a specific trick, is that I'm going to minimum line of my club, and then I will be pushing up 5 rings. So in that case, I end up on the fringe, and I will, in that case, play 5% slider with a 10% over adjustment. So for every ring I push up from minimum distance equals 1% slider when it comes to the thorn level 9. And for those of you that do just solely want to go on yardage notes, you can take 387 yards and equal that as 5% slider with a 10% over adjustment as well. Backspin to hole, and then we're gonna adjust and we're gonna hit perfect. And as you can see here, we're gonna get this ball right at the pin for a beautiful eagle here with a conservative play. Now let's take a look what we can do if we do have a more direct tailwind. For the more aggressive drive, we're gonna play with a power 5 ball. Here, it's better to have a lot of wind than the opposite, as we normally are looking to have as low wind as possible. So, we start at complete max, 2 bars of side spin to the left, 4 bars of top spin, and once that is done, we will adjust for maximum distance plus 10. And maximum distance plus 10, the reason for that is that we will be having our first bounce further down on the course than we would be having if we would be bouncing on top, as we did in the first example. Adjusting, we push up to max, and then we're just gonna play a regular shot, not try to go with any overpower whatsoever, just gonna let the ball do the job. And you can see here that the ball rolls very nicely, and we are so close to the green here, and will have a very short wedge towards the pin. I play with 4 bars of topspin. As you noticed, we can add a little bit more topspin would be on green, and I do believe that there is a chance for an hole-in-one if we're gonna see this type of wind in a tournament situation where you're able to play it over and over and over again, and in that case you can dial it in, and it would be lovely to have an hole-in-one on a par 4. So let's start with the drive on hole number 6. And here we do have some tailwind. And sure, we can go for a blast here trying to get down to the final part of the fairway, which I'm not against, but that is not the way that we're gonna play in this example. I'm using as much topspin possible and also as much side spin to the right possible as well. Adjust max plus 10, and then we will apply max overpower before, or like not before, without pushing up our target to max. The reason I do this is to gain more power than what we would be getting if we would be pushing up to max. It also removes the part with the inconsistency when we push up to max, when we don't really know if we push up straight or not. You may be wondering, why don't I use more topspin on my Apocalypse level 8 and I still say that I used max? It's because I do try to limit myself to play with 6 bars of topspin, so you that are watching the video can work out a way to adjust with your own clubs, which is generally being with 6 bars of topspin. And I don't want you to feel that you cannot follow what I'm doing just because I'm using abilities on a club that isn't really what you can use yourself. Second shot, I'm gonna add 5 bars of topspin. We're gonna be somewhere between medium and maximum distance of our club. When we do have wind coming right to left, it is very important to play with an 1159 pull angle. Why? It's because you adjust from a lower to a higher point. Now you may notice that we aren't in max distance and the sniper could be a possibility, but I would say I'm not really going to gamble here. Like, if I do have a tailwind for the drive and I know that I'm gonna get the distance enough for the drive, then I can play with the sniper. Otherwise, I'm always going to go to our club that gives me the 180 power, like the Cataclysm or the Big Dog, to make sure that I can reach for the rough bump. Because, frankly, this is not going to be a hole where we're gonna drop the Albatross many times, so we need to make sure that we're never going to at least miss the eagle. 20% elevation, and as already explained, somewhere between medium and max distance is what we're gonna play. So I'm gonna give you two options here. One where we do play with an aggressive rough bump, and one where we play with a more, conservative rough bump towards the pin. Here I start with a power 1 ball, wind 5, and I rest at the absolute minimum distance line using 5.2 bars of backspin, 1 bar of side spin to the left. You can see that I do have the inner ring flushed by the rough line, ball guide line to the hole. Adjustment here is going to be minimum distance plus 5, and it is very important with this wind angle and with whatever wind angle that you're playing here for the rough bump that you play with a 1201. A 1201 will pull you further up and in that way compensate for the otherwise going short and go into the bunker, which has happened myself and many others many times. Speed is perfect. Unfortunately, we are a little bit too much to the right and would be needed to compensate with a little bit more side spin to the left. And this is an aggressive rough bump. It is for special ball way. I would not recommend to go with this one with a kingmaker that has win 3 or even to a stretch a win 2 and a win 1. So a win 4 or a win 5 for this type of approach. But I do feel that the other approach that we're going to take a look at now is going to be the more consistent one with whatever type of ball you want to play. So let's take a look at option number 2. For option number 2, we're gonna play with a kingmaker or with a centurion type of ball, meaning that I would like to have a win 4 and a power 3 ball if not playing with a win 3 power 3. So either a power 3 or either a win 3 or a win 4 is what we're gonna look at. 3 bars of topspin, 1 bar side spin to the right, and I'm looking at the top of the red ring to be by the edge of the rough and the right side of the red ring being by the sand trap line. Playing with a 1201 pull angle here, as well as we do adjust from a lower to a higher point. Medium distance plus 10 power 2 ball settings gives us a total of 7.6 rings for 7.7 miles per hour. We do want to replicate getting a low wind, which is somewhere between 6.5 to 8 miles per hour. That's where I want us to land. Ball comes in lovely. We get that one right at pin for a beautiful hole-in-one with the rough bump option number 2. So you will see two options here, one where we do have headwind and one where we do have headwind, and I will also explain what to do if you do have a crosswind. Max topspin, no side spin, and we're looking to play on the left hand side if we do have headwind. The reason for that is not that I don't believe that we can reach over going straight forward, it's just that it's going to be extremely difficult and we play with a risk of getting into the rough or into the sand. Then it's better to play a more safe, consistent drive and then give us a consistent second shot as well and a good chance for an eagle. Adjustment maximum distance plus 10, even though we are not playing in maximum distance, or like we're not close to maximum distance is what I would like to say. 319 yards, and that is going to leave us to be somewhere around 25% club here towards the pin. I'm using 1 bar of side spin to the right. And I'm also using half a bar of topspin. I'm making sure that the ball guideline is slightly through the hole to compensate for the compressed ball guideline in headwind. Adjustment here now is not entirely medium distance with a 20% over adjustment, but close to it. And I do believe that the true elevation is 20%. We just need to add that little extra that would been the difference of a drop here or not. So it bounces nicely, rolls nicely, speed is perfect. We just are 1 or 2 decimals off from getting that one right at pin. But going to the left is obviously going to be a bit tougher to drop than if we do have a tailwind and we can go straight forward and even go to green if we're lucky. Then it's going to be a must eagle. But we're going to take a look at that now, and I'm going to give you the adjustment on how to secure the eagle in a tailwind. For the tailwind, we're gonna go for green. So we're gonna play with 6 bars of topspin is what we're gonna do, but first we're gonna find the position. The thing that I'm looking for here now is to actually look at my ball guideline, that so it goes in between the bunker that is in the center of the fairway and then the rough that is to the right. Adjustment here, maximum distance plus 10. Once that is done, I will push up to max. And then we apply, as you can see. I'm gonna go, there we have 5. We have 6 bars of topspin. No side spin whatsoever. I will apply overpower, and as you can see, I'm gonna go max. Great ball to the left will still be okay. So we get ourselves maybe a tad closer to the bunker than I would like to, but again, it's a great left. A perfect would be more right. And here we could also play with a little bit of side spin to be a bit, if we would want to be a bit picky. The problem with using side spin to the right is that, let's say that we do hit a bad great right, then the side spin will most definitely kick your ball into the rough or into the sand on the right, and that's not gonna be what we do want to. We want the ball to get down to the green area. I'm not expecting a hole-in-one, I'm just expecting myself to lock in the eagle to be as easy as possible. Play with the driver that gives you the most power, and the reason I'm only using 6 bars of topspin is to be able to reflect the clubs that the general audience that are watching this video does have, so we don't focus on adding too much, so it's hard to follow. So we start off with a drive, and we're gonna play with a power 3 ball minimum, and we start in absolute max distance with a white ring by the rough line to the right. 5 bars of topspin, and we have 3 bars of side spin to the right. Adjust maximum distance, no elevation, and then we will push up as well. We will be pushing up a total of 3.5 rings. And then we will apply full curl to the right. No overpower is necessary. The plan here is to get the ball to bounce on the fairway, obviously, and then over the rough and the sand, and to roll down the fairway. It is very important that you push your ball as far to the right possible, because otherwise you will roll into the rough that is on the left side of the fairway. Second shot shall be played in tailwind with a long iron. In headwind or crosswind it will be a wood club, and I would say it's either going to be the Goliath level 9 or 8 for that matter, or it should be the B52 level 7. If you have the B52 level 7 plus, use the B52 7 plus because it's a better club. Otherwise, play with the Goliath, because the thing that we're looking for here is to at least have the maximum length of a long iron. Playing with the Grizzly will definitely be a gamble for you, because you could in that case be in between clubs more times than not. 25% elevation, and we try to measure the club distance in the best of the abilities, and we bounce into the rough, and we roll down towards the pin, and in this case an absolute beautiful albatross right at pin. This is a tough shot, but as the greens are flat, the green are flat, the fairway are flat, the French are flat, so we do have a really good chance, in my opinion, to boost our scorecard with an extra albatross. But make sure that you do the drive correct, because that will be the case that either makes it or breaks it if you're gonna make an albatross here on hole number 9. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various type of wind for the Desert Dunes tournament here in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Make sure you get the ultimate tournament guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. Thank you once again for watching, and good luck in your Golf Clash game.